Council meetings are long and boring. Wouldn't it be great if they were short and unboring? This is why I've invented the 5-minute meeting. All right, Ashland City Council meeting of June 14th. It's a special meeting. It's the third of 2 meetings. That should tell you something right there, right? Go into the public forum. A woman with earrings says the survey is out, and I checked the website for more information like the survey writers told us to do, and there wasn't any helpful information there, so meh. And then a woman who sometimes has a dog on the floor but doesn't have a dog on the floor, and she says, we aren't $2 million in the red, we are $5 million if you consider lots of the one-time money that we won't be getting that we got from the COVID era. And then a guy who hates PERS, he showed up and said, he said, make the employees pay their share of PERS, starting with all the new hires. And then city manager says, oh, well, let's start with PERS, public employee retirement payments, that's a thing. And then so he says just firing lots of employees won't lower PERS because we're still paying for all the previous anyone who retired. As long as they're alive, we're paying them extra money. And so this one says, she goes, hey, can we have all the new employees, though, pay more of their PERS and put employee contributions on a sliding scale? And the finance director says, I'm pretty sure, I think that everyone needs to pay exact same money, and we can't do any sliding scales, I think. And she goes, well, you think isn't enough? I need you to check that for certain. And then she goes, that's a good point. I'm going to try and find that in writing somewhere. And then this one goes, hey, we've been talking about PERS since 2017 now. We got to do something. And then this one goes, this one says, this one had asked a really long question and then uncertain exactly what it was, but the city manager had a really long answer that didn't address it in any fashion. So that sounds par for the course, right? And then maybe we're looking to borrow money to pay up the unfunded PERS, but nothing was really decided. And then the city manager talking about the 22-23 budget, 1-year budget fix. And he started with a list of commission changes. He was going to have less committees and have them meet less often, and that's going to save some money. And this one goes, I like that idea. That's a pretty good idea. And she goes, well, my favorite committees are super important. I want to slow this all down, and we should do lots more talking before we do anything like that. And the city manager says, well, I checked with this list with all the department heads, and I got the thumbs up. So this is going to take some time. We're going to rewrite some ordinance and stuff. So you can do chatting while we move forward on that a little bit. And then surplus property. There's 4 spots in town they're trying to figure out what to do with. There's a place on North Mountain. There's the Briscoe School. There's a B Street lot and the Imperatus property across the freeway over there. And it looks like they want to maybe sell that North Mountain lot. But this one, she goes, we should make it an old folks home. It's a great spot for that. And then the Briscoe School is retained for child care. That seems like a no-brainer. And the B Street lot, there's lots of discussions on what's going to happen there. Who knows? And then the Imperatus property, maybe going to be trails or solar. And that was just all spitballing. Nothing was decided. And then the city manager says, he goes, well, here's my general budget priorities. And as he laid out a big list of what he thought were important, and she goes, I don't see SEEP on there anywhere. And the city manager goes, oh, shoot, that's a good point. My bad. And then this one goes, you are suggesting we hire a new IT boss? And he says, I suggest we outsource all that IT and the Ashland Fiber Network and stuff. And the city manager says, nobody at the city is smart enough about IT to tell us how to get rid of the IT department. So we need to hire somebody to tell us what to do with this stuff. They need to bring in Miles Finch. The movie Elf, any fans of him? Miles Finch. All the writers bring in another writer to show them how to write. So we got IT guys, need an IT guy to tell them how to get rid of the IT guys. That's a little bonkers. And then this one says, we need to focus more on housing, affordable housing to help the homeless, not just give the homeless temporary help. And planning rules need to be streamlined. And then the city manager clarified some cuts and additions that he made at the last couple of meetings. And then the councilors had a lot of questions and a lot of discussion about the food and beverage tax. Oh, the food and beverage tax. Focus shifted to the parks and food and beverage tax right there for a long time. Food and beverage ordinances voted on in the past had 25% going to the parks, and the rest went to some other stuff. And the other stuff got paid off. So now Parks was going to get it all this year. But then Parks wants all the food and beverage tax money from now on. And the city says, no, the restaurants don't like this restaurant-only tax. So people didn't start this tax just to just to give to parks, and so the 75% should be available for the city for lots of other stuff. And then this one says, hey, we should just give all the food and beverage tax to parks. And this one says, she goes, parks is going to put an ordinance on the ballot so that they get all the money anyway. So we should just give park whatever they want. And then this one goes, oh, if we have two ordinances, a city one and then a parks one, they're both going to fail. So we just give parks all the food and beverage tax. And then this one says, I think we should need to be flexible so the city can decide whether every year whether or not to give them that extra 75% or not, but not just give it to them forever. And then this one goes, parks doesn't trust the council, so that's obviously our fault, and so we should just do whatever parks wants. And then the city manager says, goes, I got a new ordinance to even bring up. Forget about those two. I got a new one. He says, I recommend that right now the city manager is in charge of all employees except park employees, apparently. And park employees are only under the parks director. And so we can't talk to any of the park employees, and yet we have to pay lawsuits if they ever do something wrong. So let's just put all the employees under the city manager. And here's what I'm not allowed to say because they're, the city's being sued for bad behavior, and the Parks Department, they lost a $500,000 lawsuit because they fired the senior center director a few years back. Remember that whole thing? And then I think they're about to lose that lawsuit. That woman who worked for the parks at the golf course. And there's a big lawsuit there, and so I feel like they're getting ready to lose that because that's going to cost the city money. So the Parks Department supervises the people. They behave badly. Parks doesn't really have their finger on the pulse of what's going on over there, and then the city has to pay. So they're just trying to make it so like, well, if we're going to pay money, we're going to be in charge of them. And this guy goes, hey, is this a motion? Are we going to do this? And the city manager goes, no. We need a study session and then ordinance proposal. And probably that's going to start next meeting, just putting that out there. And then a resolution to take the extra $100,000 in hotel tax for trails, marketing, and diversity education for next year. And that was all approved. And then this one says, she goes, I move to approve all those previous budget things we've been talking about for 3 days. And I think that's the budget is now losing, next year is going to lose $3.4 million. So to balance that out, so there's reductions in department heads and unfulfilled staff, that saves us $1.5. And then more tax income than expected showed up. That's another $1.35 million. And then there's a one-time balance addition from the ending balance correction of $2.6 million maybe. So that helped us. I'm not certain exactly where that came from. And then they added expenses of $340,000. And so I think that was all approved. They approved something there, and I think it's just that big budget fix. And then the finance policy amendment, something about new rules for budget committee behavior and some other stuff. That was all approved. And then there was a standing ovation for the finance director, Allison Chan. This was her last meeting, and they were all super appreciated. And that was it. That's the end of this meeting.